Hi, it's Katrina and today I'm here to review Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. I am so pleased to have those words come out of my mouth finally. I've been talking about reading this book for ages. I don't even know how many TBRs it's been on, and this year, the year of the big book in Katrina Reads world, I just picked it up. I thought to myself, just pick it up! Because there's no point in just being intimidated by it forever and just never picking it up. This is your opportunity when you're already ahead of your reading goal. So I did. I picked it up and it was great. So this novel was first serialised between 1873 and 1877. And it was first published as a full novel in 1878. My edition was translated by Louise and Aylmer Maude, and it is 963 pages. I really enjoyed this edition, which is the Vintage Classics edition, because at the start it has like a dramatis personae kind of bit. So we have all the list of characters at the start. It lists their nicknames, basically who they all are, and it helps you keep track of them because there are a lot of characters. You sort of forget who they are and they come back up again later on. Also, the Russian naming system really confuses me because everyone has three names. They have their given name, a patronymic, which is based off their father's name. So for example, we have a character called Princess Daria Alexandrovna Oblonskaya, but she's known as Dolly for most of the book. And whenever people would say, oh, Daria Alexandrovna, I was like, who? And they were literally talking about one of the main characters, but I had to flick to the front personally to work that one out because I forgot. Because it's so complex, and I really appreciated that list. Quick, non-spoilery thoughts. This follows two main storylines, two or three. Anna Karenina and her affair / doomed love story with Count Vronsky. Kostya Levin, who's probably our main character. We spend the most time with him. This book should really be called Kostya Levin. We spend almost the whole book with him and in his mind. And his love for Kitty Sherbatskaya, who is held up as sort of a model woman. There's also the marriage of Oblonsky and Dolly, which is kind of an unhappy marriage that's just sort of ticking along. This book has a very famous first line, and it completely sets up what this book is about, and it is, all happy families resemble one another, each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. This is about unhappy families. This book, at first I was like, I don't know if I even like this book, but I kept reading it and I kept wanting to read it and enjoying it and staying up until 2 in the morning to read more about it. And I think I couldn't quite make up my mind because it's so different from anything I've ever read before. I was talking to one of my friends, Sarah, about it. I was saying, I don't know if it was so strange. And she said, is it because of all the farming? And I was like, yes. And then she said, because I was reading it and I would think to myself, I've just read 100 pages about Russian farming and I'm not even mad about it. That is exactly, she put it just completely in a nutshell. It's like, I don't understand. There's a whole like 50-page section where Levin is mowing grass, but you're like, oh, and then what happened? Did you manage to get your like swathe of grass to match up with the peasant's grass? Like, I really cared about him mowing this grass. This is a very complex novel in a lot of ways. There's a lot of characters. They're all intertwining and meeting one another and affecting one another's lives. Goes over the space of a couple of years. I feel like I need to reread it already. So rich. I really enjoyed it. Tolstoy's writing style is really engaging. There's a few passages which I read, just absolutely on the edge of my seat. And then there's other ones where they're just slow and luxurious and you're just on the farm and things are happening and you're just loving it. So going into sort of more spoilers and more of the discussion portion of this video, I think you could tell that this novel was written in a serialized format. Levin, who's, I guess, everyone sort of says he's there to represent Tolstoy. He is having a lot of the thought processes that Tolstoy himself is having. He's putting them, sort of projecting them onto this character, Levin. He thinks about a variety of different topics and a variety of different settings, and I think that it's as things were occurring to Leo Tolstoy himself, as he was changing the things he was really interested in month to month, that was then portrayed through Levin. And I really appreciate that this novel is written over such a great amount of time because it spans such a great amount of time, and I think that reflects well in the complexity of the issues that are addressed, and the way that Levin's thoughts and attitudes themselves develop. This novel really is about three relationships. We have the perfect relationship. We have Levin and Kitty, who, yes, she was led astray for a short while, but they came together. It's pure love. She is the good girl. She was innocent and virtue. You know, she was a virgin at marriage, and she's sort of lauded as this perfect woman. We have Anna, the fallen woman, who we do have a lot of sympathy for, and Tolstoy himself does have a lot of sympathy for. It gives her own voice, but it's sort of doomed from the start because of the mistakes that are made, and this is sort of this declining romance into this really unhappy situation. And then we also have Dolly and Oblonsky. They're sort of like stuttering along relationship where he keeps cheating on her, she keeps being pissed off, but then nothing really occurring from that. And it's interesting to see how all three of these intertwine. A lot of it's very soap opera. There's a lot of moments in ballrooms and at the opera. Sorry that the lighting is getting a bit weird, the sun's moving. But then there's so much just set that's very Russian feeling. We're in the countryside, we're talking about the peasants who are newly liberated serfs at this time in Russia's history. Levin thinks a lot about religion, about the place of the Russian Orthodox Church in the world, within Christianity. He talks about the relationship of the farmers with the land and with Russia, and how the majority of Russia is this open farmland with these poor people working it. It's not Moscow, it's not St. Petersburg, but we spend a lot of time there as well, contrasting them and really thinking about things. I mean, I love Jane Austen. I love Jane Austen. But her novels are very, you know, they're like a soap opera or something, which I mean, I really love them, but they don't talk that much about the world around what's happening just to these characters, whereas this has those elements of the characters, their love lives, their family relationships, with also this wider world view, what things are happening. We talk about local government, we talk about wars happening to the south and other countries. We talk about how things are developing and differing opinions, and there's debates and there's elections, and I love that so much. There are a few passages in this which I just read with a smile on my face. When Kitty and Levin are talking to one another with a chalk and he's asking her to marry him, and it's so sweet and I love that. But then there's also passages which are so engrossed, and I was, you know, on the edge of my seat. The horse race scene where Vronsky is in the races and Anna's in the crowd, and you're just absolutely heart in mouth. Tolstoy just slips between people's perspectives, between people's minds so seamlessly. There's a section that's written in the perspective of a dog when they're hunting, and I love that as well. And I mean, Anna's death scene was just absolutely heartbreaking, especially her moment of regret at the end, and it was too late, and it goes on for such a long time after as well. You see what's happening to the other people around her, and oh, I loved this book. I really did. The longer it's been since I read it, the more I think about it, the more I enjoy it. I'm glad I've left this a couple of weeks since I finished reading it to review it, because I had time to think about it, and I think I needed that time to think about it. I've since watched the Keira Knightley movie, and I thought it was good. I think that you would probably have to have read the book and know more of the plot to really enjoy it. It was very interesting. I think he was trying to be a bit too Wes Anderson, or like more Wes Anderson than he's actually capable of doing, but I did enjoy it as a movie. I think I'll watch it again. All in all, I just really recommend this book. Like, pick it up. It's so readable. It's so much more readable than I thought it would be. You know, I would be easily able to sit there for hours and hours and read it, and I really enjoyed it. And I can't wait to one day read War and Peace, because it just seems so much more achievable now that I've enjoyed this one so much. This year I'm definitely excited to read more Russian literature. I picked up a non-fiction book about Russia recently. Vintage Classics have just re-released 6 Russian novels in these beautiful editions. I have War and Peace in this edition, which is just absolutely stunning. I can't get over it. And I think I'm going to have to buy Anna Karenina in the same edition, even though it'll be my 3rd copy. I really liked it, so I think I'm going to have to. I like having multiple copies of the same book. I'm a hoarder. I'm a collector, not a hoarder. Don't judge me. So thanks for watching my review of Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. My previous video was an Own Voices and non-fiction haul, and my next video is going to be 25 bookish facts about me. If you'd like to subscribe to see that. You can also follow me on Instagram and Goodreads and Twitter. Thanks for watching. Bye.